Hi you guys, how's it going? So today we are going to talk about products you should avoid when you're looking at FBA products. Market research can take forever. I know it's a long process, but it's so important. So if we can weed out a few different types of products, it will save you a ton of time and money. The first type of product that you should avoid is fad products. These are products that gain overnight popularity, and it just seems like everyone and their mom wants the product. Quickly as they come up to be popular, they lose their popularity just as quickly. Let me explain why. With the fad products, the product life cycle is very short, so the product will gain a ton of momentum and popularity, but then a bunch of sellers will come in and sell the same product. Once the market is saturated, it's just a race to the bottom on who can sell it for the cheapest price. So I see a lot of fad products come onto the Amazon market, and I feel really bad for these people who get into a market and end up having the hardest time trying to sell their inventory. So if you guys can avoid fad products, do at all costs. I always tell new sellers to try and come up with products that are the most unassuming products. Products that most people wouldn't think of, because these are the products that are going to last for a long time and bring you success long term, not just short term. So with fad products, a good way to track and see if they are fad products is track the market for a month or two. You don't need to jump into a product right away, because that's what a lot of people did with these fad markets, because if they would have just waited a month or two, they would have seen that the market got very saturated very quickly. So take your time and be patient, and you will figure out if it's a fad market or not. The second type of product you should avoid are products that are very difficult to ship. So I am talking about oversized products and breakable products. An oversized product, these are just going to be too expensive for a new FBA seller. You have to really work with a supplier, and I think you should stick to a standard size product so you understand the FBA process before you get into that. So as far as breakable products, these include glass, mirror, or thin plastic products that can break in transit. So either when they are going to the FBA warehouse or when they're being shipped out to the customer, we do not want a bunch of returns and bad reviews because the product is breaking due to bad packaging. So I would just completely avoid this at the beginning. It is something you could get into down the road, but when you are working with the new supplier and you are yourself running a new business, it is hard to know the ins and outs of how to properly package a product. I would just ease your mind and stay away from oversized products and breakable products. You won't have as much trouble, I promise. Okay, so the third type of product you should be avoiding as a new FBA seller is products in restricted categories. Restricted categories means you need approval from Amazon and you need research and testing presented to even be allowed in that category. So you have to present a bunch of paperwork and information, making sure that your product is legitimate and it's going to be safe for consumers to use. So here is a list of restricted categories, and if you think your product might fall into this category, you should click on it and look at the subcategories, because there are many subcategories within the initial categories where your product could also be restricted. If you're not sure if it's restricted or not, you can easily figure that out by creating your product listing. I personally think restricted categories are a great market to get into as far as competition. The competition is much lower because it's a harder barrier of entry, but at the end of the day, you are brand new. You don't know what you don't know as a new seller. And so I would stay clear of this and sell more of a generic product in some of those unrestricted categories, just to save peace of mind, guys. Okay, so the fourth product type to steer clear of is variation products. So variation products are when you have different colors, sizes, materials that you offer within one listing. So if you offer a hat that comes in blue, purple, and red, you need to treat all of those colors as separate products at the end of the day. They have separate ASINs, they are tracked separately. It is essentially like launching 3 products. And that's something a lot of people don't understand when they're first going into it. I know I didn't. I launched essentially 4 products because I had 4 variations for my first product. I just ran into a bunch of trouble. Like creating shipping plans was harder, getting everything packed and prepped was harder. I just personally would stay away from this with your first product. There are plenty of products, single products out there that you do not need to, have a bunch of different variations. Sure, if you have a great product and people are saying that they want it in a different color or a different size or dimensions, great, add it on. Variations are things you can add on to the parent listing at a later time. So stick with one product with no variations for your first, and I promise it will just be a lot smoother. Okay, the 5th and final product is bundle products. Bundle products are, in my eyes, 3 or more pieces to 1 unit. This is so time consuming when working with a supplier, you guys, because you have to negotiate pricing for every piece that's in the bundle. I personally also made this mistake. I put together a bundle of 11 items and the negotiation process took so long because you have to negotiate every little piece. And the thing about that is some of the pieces that you might want for your bundle, your supplier might not have, so then you'll have to coordinate shipping with a different supplier to get those pieces over to your one supplier. It just becomes kind of a mess, you guys, and it's a really long upfront process. And I promise you can find better products and save a little bit of time in that process. But also with bundling that people don't often account for, and I didn't account for, is your keywords. Keywords are kind of difficult. It opens up such a wide range of keywords that you can bid on, but they're not 100% ever relevant unless it's saying like a bundle of something. Like if you have like one toothbrush in your bundle and you try and bid on the word toothbrush, when people are thinking of toothbrush, they're thinking of a cheap $5 toothbrush and your bundle's over here being $30, and it's bidding becomes very difficult and keyword strategy becomes a lot more difficult. It opens up your keyword range, but the relevancy with the keywords becomes a lot lower. So keep that in mind. Don't get me wrong, bundles can be really great if you are just adding on like 1 or 2 products. But what I'm saying is when you are bundling a bunch of different products together, that's when it becomes pretty difficult. So now that we've talked about the 5 products you should avoid as new FBA sellers, you need to go over and look at my market and product research video. This includes all of the things you should be looking at when you're looking for a successful product. So I will link it right here. I hope you guys have an awesome day. Again, my name is Liz. I am the owner of ebizwithliz.com. Go check that out for a bunch of free resources and tools for FBA sellers. Otherwise, hit that subscribe button below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.